While Windsor was busy digging out today, businesses were digging in, opening their doors to the new customers that are allowed in.
We're ready to go. We're excited to get back to normal, and we're excited to spend some time with our customers that we haven't seen in a really, really long time.
Average Joe's has a capacity of 300, but only 10 people are allowed in.
This is not getting back to normal, but we're going to take what we can get. We're going to welcome the 10 people in with open arms. We're still doing takeout 6 days a week.
While the snow may have kept some customers away, those that did make it out were happy to be there.
We don't know what's going to happen next, right?
Get out while you can.
That's right, exactly.
I'm actually surprised they lifted it. I thought it would be a little bit longer than what it is.
There were no options for hairdressers during the shutdown. For some, hard to get by. So it actually pretty much made you broke.
Basically, this one, I got out of a lot of my saved on cash, my on-hand cash. I didn't have a lot of my on-hand cash, so after a while, probably 3 or 4 weeks later, then I'm like, now everything's on debit.
Good to be back because hair needs to be cut and money needs to be made.
It's a struggle, because we count on this money for our survival and pay our bills, pay our car payments, things like that. So it's been tough.
And the effect of the shutdown has definitely been felt in the downtown core.
As far as I know, there's been 2 businesses that have closed during the lockdown in the downtown. So as far as seeing for lease signs, you'll see them in a lot of places. To be honest, Jacob, is it frustrating? Absolutely. They've been put into a really challenging situation, and a lot of these businesses, when I say they're small businesses, it's often run by 1 or 2 people or a family.
Now, as far as city services go, you will see one thing coming back online: outdoor skating rinks. This rink, the Lansbury Lions Park rink, will open up tomorrow. But as for other services, the city says there won't be anything coming back online until we get into the orange level of restrictions. Chris?
Thanks, Jacob. CBC's Jacob Barker live tonight. Now, today there were no new cases of COVID-19 reported in Windsor-Essex. It's something that the health unit is suspect about. They're looking into things. Yesterday, there were 44 new cases of COVID-19. Now, as of right now, there's about 306 active cases in the region. Now, an outbreak has forced Windsor's largest emergency housing shelter to move locations ahead of last night's storm. It happened on Monday. The outbreak was declared Thursday. 46 people who use the downtown mission have tested positive for COVID-19, and so have most of their staff members. The mission is going to run out of the old Central Library branch at 850 Olette Avenue. The building you're looking at now has been shut down. Those who tested positive are staying at the Isolation and Recovery Center run by the City of Windsor and the Welcome Center for Women. But the executive director of the mission says that center is now full, sending them scrambling to find more spaces for people who are homeless and COVID-19 positive. No one has required hospitalizations because of the virus. I just finished an interview with Ron Dunn. Here's part of that conversation. How close does what happened after the outbreak to the mission fit the plan that was in place before the outbreak?
I'm not sure that there is a correlation at all, to be honest. I think that, when you put something down on paper is great, but practicalities of implementing those things are always difficult.
When you look back at what's happened, is there anything you would have done different?
From our side, no. I think, I don't know that there was a right or a wrong way in this, but, other cities have just rented hotels for everybody. When there's a shelter in place order or stay at home order and you don't have a home, what do you do? Right? So, and we've had these discussions, but honestly, I think as many times as I've been at, odds with the city in recent history, I would say, they did everything they could possibly do. Nobody, this is new for everybody. I see Yelena Payne and her department from the top to the bottom. People, even city employees, have just been redeployed from other jobs not related to the housing homelessness sector, working their tails off, working very, very hard.
When you talk about the library and the foreseeable future, are you able to describe what kind of deal there is there? Is this something where the mission is fronting that cost? Is there a cost associated with it?
Well, there's a cost associated with everything, isn't there? So as luck would have it, I was using the library since January 1st to as a storage kind of unit. So I have a 1-year lease on the property that just really started January 1. So we're also operating. We were planning to operate our Jubsy.com offices out of there, which is our food delivery app that we're working with in the city. So we had some plans for it. Those plans are now turned on their ear, as you can well imagine. But yeah, that's just where we're at. So we have the lease for a year. We'll see how long this goes and what we got to do. There is a cost associated, obviously. So I have already discussed those costs with our partners at the city to say, look, we had a pretty sweetheart deal on the property, but now I have to pay, hydro bills and using it as storage and now using it for people are two different things.
When you look back over January and knowing that you had that space available before the outbreak, what was the reason to not have people stay there?
Well, I don't think we were there yet, I mean, it's a big deal to shut down 2 buildings and consolidate into one. It's a challenge at all kinds of levels. And so, being funded by the community, we feel it's important to make sure we spend every dollar wisely. And we just weren't at that spot yet. When, as soon as we got our first few cases and realized, hey, wait a minute, we're heading in the wrong direction here, conversations were started instantly. And when I say that, I mean, this was like last Thursday, Friday,
Yeah.
right? So it wasn't like we had a ton of time.
We'll put that full interview on our website, cbc.ca/Windsor. Meanwhile, Prime Minister Justin Trudeau says this week Canada will receive its single largest shipment of COVID-19 vaccines from Pfizer.
And next week, we're expecting an even larger shipment from Pfizer again. We are on track to receive 2 million doses of the Moderna vaccine before the end of March.
Ottawa plans to distribute more than 400,000 Pfizer-BioNTech doses to the 10 provinces by Sunday. The territories, which are scheduled to get the Moderna shots every 3 weeks, can expect their next shipments after February 21st. Now, across the country, nearly 1.3 million vaccine shots have been administered so far. That includes more than 314,000 second doses. Lifting restrictions and the slow vaccine rollout, just 2 of the issues that the Ford government was being criticized for as politicians returned to Queen's Park from their winter break. The government, however, is defending its response to the pandemic. Queen's Park reporter Mike Crawley takes us through what happened.
Under a fresh dump of snow, the legislature resumes for the first time this year, and the debate picks up pretty much where it left off in December.
We're opening the economy up extremely cautiously.
He's refusing to listen to the advice of experts, and he's reopening too quickly.
We aren't reopening it, the province, we're transitioning.
As of today, nearly all of Ontario's public health units have transitioned to color-coded restriction levels. Toronto, Peel and York remain under a stay-at-home order. That's due to lift next Monday. When that happens, it's unclear whether those places will be under a lockdown or red-level restrictions.
We're still looking on a case-by-case basis in all of those areas to see what their caseloads are, what variants of concern are operating in those areas.
An answer will come Friday after provincial officials assess the latest COVID data. They admit that relaxing restrictions in the community so soon after sending hundreds of thousands of kids back to class poses a risk.
Ideally, we would like to wait 2 weeks before we see a potential impact from a measure. It's a question of balance and decision by the government in terms of which measures to take when.
The government is also under fire over how long it took to provide all long-term care residents their first dose of a COVID-19 vaccine.
It's been more than 2 months since vaccines have arrived here in Ontario, and we are weeks behind other provinces.
We're missing the vaccines. Give us the vaccines. We will get them into people's arms. We have the most efficient, the most organized team.
The legislature sits for 13 weeks between now and next June. The pause for the week of March break is still on the schedule, even though the school break is postponed until April. Mike Crawley, CBC News, Toronto.
We Trans Support is hoping for change following hateful vandalism at its main office. Police are investigating, and as CBC's Katerina Georgieva reports, the act is reaffirming the organization's commitment to making things better for those it supports.
A swastika and a homophobic slur. Executive Director Alex Reid scrubs away the last of it, but it doesn't take away the sting.
I was obviously disheartened by the fact that, we're doing this work in Windsor-Essex and this is a really unfortunate type of hate crime, type of discrimination that, a lot of our community members face on a daily, weekly basis.
After finding the vandalism yesterday, Reid has since filed a police report and says he's not aware of any suspects as of yet. Police would only confirm that they were in the area for a report of vandalism. However, the investigation is still in its early stages and they have no further information to provide at this time. Reid hopes this can be a learning opportunity for whoever did this.
We want to offer these individuals an opportunity for growth, an opportunity for education.
But this isn't a standalone act. The group's old office on Wyandotte had been subjected to vandalism in the past as well. Reid says the organization does all it can to keep things safe.
If people are upset by this, if they're feeling triggered and they need their support, we're always there.
This hate speech expert says it's not clear if there's a rise in this type of behavior in Windsor specifically.
The main factors that have perhaps led to an increase in these sorts of incidents, acts, really the social media, in which it's much easier for hateful views to circulate and for individuals to encourage each other or embolden each other to engage in acts like this, or more generally just to hold hateful views.
But Reid is fighting the hatred with hope.
That's just an expression of hate and an expression of ignorance. But I know that with the support of my staff and my volunteers that, we're only going to become stronger and know that this is something that we don't have to face alone.
The organization says that the vandalism is a reminder that the work that it's doing is important and that there's more work that needs to be done and more hearts and minds that need to be opened and changed. Katerina Georgieva, CBC News, Windsor.
Today is Punchki Day, usually the busiest day for the iconic Black's Bakery in Windsor, serving their signature donuts. But the pandemic took a bite out of some of its sales this year.
Our sales are way down from last year. Even though we were busier on the days leading up to Punchki Day because we started making them last Thursday. So we tried to spread it out over 5 days so we wouldn't have a lot of people in here. And, so those days were busier, but today and yesterday were not what they normally are.
Now, she says she prepared for this. The bakery made only half the amount of what they would usually make. And while they were fully staffed, she didn't have her family members from out of town helping. But she says she's still happy with the support from the community and is brewing with excitement over a new collaboration with Craft Heads Brewing Company.
I think this was a good partnership for them because we could deliver the punchkis for them as well. So that kind of takes a little bit of the craziness and confusion out of it for them.
Now, in addition to selling the bakery's signature donuts, the company made Punchki beer. It sold 4 full tanks of it this year, and that's the equipment that brews the beer. They hope to bring it back next year. The company says it helped boost sales during a time where business has been slower. Now, it hopes to collaborate with other local businesses as well in the future. Well, families were certainly out taking advantage of this snow today. Many brought whatever they could to slip and slide down the hill over at Malden Park. Some stopped to tell us what would make their snow day extra special.
I was like, yes, no school today. Me too. I was like, wow, this is a lot of snow. No way the buses are running. Ice fishing or going tobogganing. Or go sledding with your friends.
Just doing some sledding. It's a big snow day, so we're kind of just skipping school and going sledding today. Well, we're still doing online classes today. I joined for about half an hour, and then I came out here.
You have tons of snow, and you can build many things with it. Snowman. I like building a big mountain, and then I like to jump on top of it.
Well, actually, it's our first time to come here and do some activity, snow activity. So we are so excited to get a new experience with this.
I was really excited to be able to sleep in a little longer and then have a fun activity planned.
just get a good sled and go down the hill and have some fun with your friends and your family.
Certainly spending the day right. Take a look at that. An icebreaker. If you know anything about me, this is my favorite thing that has happened on our show. A live shot of this boat, this ship going down the Detroit River, breaking up some of that thick ice. That is what we're going to talk to Colette Kennedy about next. A lot of snow, but how cold is it going to get? We'll hear her forecast after the break. First Nation communities in Canada's far north have a long-standing tradition of making decorative sled dog blankets. One Yukon artist was inspired to make one for her non-working dog. Now, who says you have to be a husky to look good in one of these? That there is Ricky, the 7-year-old Chihuahua sporting his hand-beaded bling. Now, owner Velma Olson spent a month working on it so she can enter her pooch in the next best thing to the Yukon quest, the Yukon Rendezvous, which is a pet parade. Colette Kennedy joins us now. I love that. There's been so many videos being shown around of dogs with booties when they go out in the snow. And there's so much joy when a dog wears clothes.
There really, I don't know if there is for them, but you're right. There really is for us.
Okay,
and the beating was just beautiful on that too, with the bells. Oh my God, I love it. Yeah, I love it. Can't help myself. I hope you love all this snow that we've received, because we're not actually done. We got another storm. Okay, we'll get to that in a minute. That's going to be coming in this week. We'll do the recap here, taking a look at some of the totals. Fergus, over 25 centimeters. Windsor, 20 centimeters. Ingersoll, yep, 20. Leamington, okay, almost got there, 19 centimeters. So this was as of this morning. And London, 17, but we're seeing those squalls coming in and having an impact. So those numbers can be going up a little bit there. Our temperature right now, we've only seen it change a couple of degrees between this morning and where we got to this afternoon, and then where we are now. So -8, and Chatham-Kent, -10. We have to bring the winds into it. We just have to, and this is what it feels like. So we're into those minus mid to upper teens in terms of below zero, but these are going to be dropping off into the low 20s. So really some extreme cold that we're going to be seeing carrying on into tomorrow morning. One of the cooler nights for sure. There are some of those squalls showing up. So with those winds coming across Lake Huron, we are seeing those pushing over towards London. All these areas you see here into that snow squall warning. So those are the warnings there. They may shift just a little bit as those winds vacillate a bit, but primarily kind of hitting the same areas over and over. Our storm that brought us the 20 centimeters having an impact on Atlantic Canada right now. You can even see a few lightning strikes because it's milder for southern Nova Scotia and to the warm sector. Definitely not the case elsewhere. And Texas, you know, they've really been dealing with a lot, over 4 million people without power from the last storm and the cold that's in place. Another storm there, freezing rain, snowfall, but that, I bring your attention to it, is going to be moving towards us for Thursday. So that's when we'll have more snow coming in. Tomorrow, we are going to be seeing clear skies tonight. So we'll get into a clearing after some of these flurries through the evening. And then we get into sunshine and then into some increasing cloud late. Thursday, the first part of the day, overcast, some flurries starting. And then into the afternoon, evening, we see this next system pushing through. It's still a little early. I'm going to fine tune this tomorrow. I hope you'll come back and join us. But I do want you to know that initially, it's around 5 centimeters, but I roll this forward. By the time we get to Friday morning, we're more in that 5 to 10 centimeter range on top of what we already have. Tonight, -16, like I said, feeling like -22. Tomorrow's high, just -7. Cooler for Windsor and Leamington than we're going to even find towards London. But after that, the temperatures, with that system coming in, Chris, the temperatures will actually be coming up a little bit. And by the way, Sunday, another one.
Another one. Another one?
Another one.
Another one. Thanks, Colette.
You're welcome.
Now, if we're going to be getting all of this snow, then you might as well do something amazing with it. Someone in Manitoba did. We'll show you next.
CBC Gem.
The Liberals are moving ahead with a plan that would see the federal government buy blacklisted firearms from owners. It was part of new gun control legislation that was introduced today. Now, there's no firm details about how much this voluntary program will cost, but the bill would also allow municipalities to ban handguns.
We all know there will be plenty of politics, but let's not forget what this is about: saving lives. We're not targeting law-abiding citizens who own guns to go hunting or for sport shooting. The measures we're proposing are concrete and practical, and they have one goal and one goal only: protecting you, your family, and your community.
Now, Conservative leader Aaron O'Toole says that the measures announced today won't solve shootings and that criminal gang activity in big cities would continue. Now, we aren't the only region that's digging out from a heavy snowfall. Western Canada is dealing with a polar vortex, finally cold enough to build the annual snow maze in Manitoba. It's the world's largest. This year, even bigger.
All that warm weather that everyone was enjoying in January and lots of December, we were frustrated with it. Our usual time to build a maze, we can typically, about 12 working days, kind of gets us the maze built. I mean, now this one, we started at the same time. We started about mid-December, but I mean, we're just nicely getting finished now.
Can't tell if you're smiling.
We made our snow maze 91% bigger, and we do have the world's title as the largest maze. And so when you increase that by 91%, I mean, that added to the build, you know, very costly to add that much. So we added just square footage so that we can keep people apart. And in addition, we added 2 feet to the paths. So they were 6 feet and now they're 8 feet so that everyone can maintain social distancing while they're in the maze. We also added a bunch of snow buildings and snow huts with artwork and things to find inside. So the build was absolutely twice what we've ever done before for energy and efforts. We have our big blue luge run. We call it the Blue Streak. So that's a really fast, that's not for everybody slide. And then we have Snow Mountain. That's a more general sliding hill, and we provide toboggans for that as well. And then on not when it's minus 29, but when the weather is conducive to that, we actually have horse-drawn sleigh rides as well that go on the weekends.
Our show producer, Stacey Janzer, says it looks cool if you're wondering the kind of things that make us laugh here at the newsroom. That's it for us. CBC.ca/Windsor for more on these stories. The Rick Mercer Report is up next. Thanks for watching.